about all kinds of relationships. And yeah, we're talking about all kinds of relationships. But on today's episode, wait, you guys don't even know who I am yet. Okay, so my name is Mi'ad. I'm the host of the show. Yes, that's how you properly say my name. What else should you guys know about me? So I am a Black Muslim woman. I am in my early 20s. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I am a middle child of Sudanese immigrants. So that's a little bit about me. So what is the Rampage even about? Is it about me screaming and yelling? Who knows? Let's find out. So basically, it's a show about relationships. Everybody has them. And the Rampage is for everybody because everybody has opinions on those relationships. And basically, the different kinds of relationships we're going to be talking about is friends, family, coworkers, acquaintances, community, and lovers too. But this isn't going to be the normal kind of relationship podcast where it's like men are yelling about how they hate women and like women are yelling about how they hate men. I want to come at this angle a little bit differently. So, what other relationships? Oh yeah, we're also going to be talking about the self and spirituality. Every week is a new topic for an hour talking about some kind of relationship that I will be discussing with the team. Oh my God, I didn't introduce the team. We have a team, y'all. It's not just me. We have Andy on the soundboard. Give it up for Andy. Woo!
Yes, sir. You know, good to be here finally, officially, you know. Like, shout out to Miad putting this all together.
Right,
you know,
right.
She's a top G.
Yeah. And we have my girl Stacy behind the camera. Let's hear it for Stacy. Yeah, go Stacy. Yeah. And we also have James. James is in the room. Hi, James. Hey. Also, this is my show, technically, but occasionally we will be having guests. Yeah, and this show is very interactive. I want everybody to be chiming in, so you will not hear just from me. You will hear from Andy, from Stacy, and even from James. Okay, so what are we talking about on this episode? Drumroll, please. Okay, today we're talking about loneliness. Now, what exactly is loneliness? I had to go Google the definition for y'all because I couldn't even think of like an exact definition myself. So I was like, let me go look. So the definition of loneliness is from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. The feeling of being alone, regardless of the amount of social contact. What do you guys think about that? What are you guys thinking about that?
You know, they're the experts. You know, you got to go with what they got to say, you know.
Okay, Stacy, what do you think about that definition? Do you feel like it's accurate, not accurate? What do you think?
It sounds accurate to me, to be honest.
That's fair. James, what do you think?
Sorry, what was the question?
The definition from the Center of Disease Control and Prevention of loneliness is the feeling of being alone regardless of the amount of social contact. What do you think about that?
Sounds like a literal explanation.
Okay, that's fair. So, most other definitions, aside from this one, have to do with unwanted isolation and need for human connection. So, most of the time it has to do with so there's a difference between feeling alone and feeling lonely. And I think we all have experienced that. I feel like everybody knows what it feels like to be alone and enjoy your own company as opposed to being lonely and it's just oh my God, it sucks. And yeah. I also wanted to say, what else did I want to say? Feeling lonely sucks, bro. It really, really sucks. And nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to admit it. Everybody wants to act like you don't need nobody. I don't need anybody. I'm cold-hearted. I don't have feelings. Whatever. Nothing ever gets to me. And that's not true, bro. It's really not true. Come on. Nobody has no feelings all the time. Let's be for real. Let's be just a little bit for real. And it kind of gives, I don't know if y'all saw Everybody Hates Chris. It really does give Rochelle's I don't need this. My man works 2 jobs. But it's you don't have a man. And he don't work 2 jobs. So it's it doesn't, I don't know. So, what is it like for you guys? What do you guys do when you are alone where you feel like good about being alone? What are situations where you feel good about being alone? Stacy.
I mean, for me, I like to watch TV a lot.
Right.
I like to watch a lot of YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
I also like to listen to music most of the time. So those are some things that I do during my free time where I don't feel bad about being alone, and I actually enjoy my own company.
Right, right. What about you, Andy? What do you do when you're alone that you enjoy?
It's a good question. Usually, I would say taking a good walk outside, enjoying in the company of nature is always a good thing. It really does lower, the mental stresses in life.
Right,
And
right.
where, yeah, definitely just being with, in nature, whether it's like even just a simple walk outside in front of your house, that just, gives you a different perspective.
Right.
And so, like, that goes the same with music. I always say music is therapeutic, and like it does, help you in a way not to be alone, where you're encompassed in the world of the lyrics that your artist is, saying in the song.
Right, right. And I would agree. Some things that I do when I'm alone that I really enjoy doing by myself. I like to crochet. I don't know if y'all know that about me. It is like a very old and grandma. Every single time I tell this to somebody, they're always just like, okay, it's a very like grandma activity. Why do you like to crochet? Like, who does that? I think it's like you need to join the senior center. But crocheting is fun, y'all. When I'm not like yelling at the project, it's really, really fun. What else do I do? I like to watch TV shows by myself. Oh my God, I have a story. So I used to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender with my little brother. I was like, I already seen the show. I really love the show. I want to share it with my little brother, right? Because he never seen it. So I was just like, okay, I'm already rewatching it. Let me just watch it with him. Every single day after school, we were going to watch the show together. That was the agreement, right? I take it very seriously. If you watch a show without me, I feel like you cheated on me. Anyways, so my little brother, while I found out that he was watching the show without me, I couldn't believe it. Broke my little heart. I was like, who are you? I don't know you anymore. And ever since that day, I've never watched a show with him ever again. Because why would you do that? That just feels so nasty, so rude, so ew. Mustafa, if you're watching this, you were terrible for that. And I want you to apologize. Thank you. But yeah, so since then, I like watching TV shows by myself. And also, like, there's a certain thing. Like, when you share a show with somebody, it's like you can't ever watch it without them. I don't know what it is. I feel like I can't ever watch a show without somebody. Once you start it together, you gotta like finish it together. So it's like, I don't know. But starting a show by yourself is great because you don't need to share with somebody. You don't need to wait a million years for when they're free so you can watch it together. I just think it's better to watch things by yourself. What else do I do that's alone, that I do alone? I do listen to music alone. Like you both said. I'm trying to think, what else do I do alone? I mean, that's all I could think of right now.
What about being in the company of others?
Like, what activities do I do when I'm with other people?
Yeah, or even like reaching out to some people. Is that something that you normally do?
I do reach out to people and I do like talk to people. I am like online a lot, so like I'll be on Twitter, I'll be on Instagram, and I'm like always talking to people, always posting on my story, and like interacting with people that way. I feel like that's really fun. How else do I do that? That's okay. Next topic. Okay, as opposed to being lonely, because loneliness is kind of like, I don't know, it has like this negativity around it where it's just like I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be doing this by myself. Like, ew. When have you ever felt like that? I think I want to start with James. Have you ever been in a position where you were like, I don't want to feel alone in this moment right now? What were you doing?
Likely consuming media.
Okay.
Like, this is something I want to do, something I've done my whole life. Like, like once when I taped something off of HBO, and then I went to visit my grandparents in Florida. I took the because I did it a lot as a kid. I taped stuff off TV, and I just would bring it over just because I want to, like, this is what I just saw, and I want to share it with you.
Right. That's so sweet. Actually, you literally taped it and you brought it to their house so they could watch it with you. It's very sweet. I like that. What about you, Andy?
To be honest with you, most for me, I feel like just being in the company of family.
Mm-hmm.
But it just depends on the person because it could be a blessing or a curse. Sometimes your family may not understand what you're going through,
Right,
and they
right.
may just bluntly should tell you to shove it off. Thank God that's not with my family.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have I'm blessed to have a good relationship with them.
Got you.
So if anything that I'm going through, I would tell them in private and stuff. But yeah, when it's like when you don't want to be alone, you just gotta have somebody there, to reach out to, your day ones, that one friend that you always talk to in class.
Right.
But yeah.
No, I was asking more so. I mean, like, I hear what you're saying, and like, obviously, I agree. Being around people that you like being around is good for loneliness. But I guess what I'm asking is, like, have you ever been in a moment where you're like, I really want to share this with somebody else? And what was that moment?
It's a good question. To be honest with you, I don't know.
That's okay. That's okay. What about you, Stacy? Do you have one?
I guess like the moments when I feel lonely or like sad, that's when I don't want to be alone. But then there are also like good moments where like there's like a fun activity that I want to share with my friends or family members. Those are some things that I don't, want to have a moment alone.
Right. I hear that.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if y'all are aware, but there's this thing called the nudge where basically it gives you plans. This is not a sponsorship, by the way. We're not allowed to do sponsorships on here. But anyways, it's this thing that I signed up for where it's like it gives you plans to do in your city, like suggestions that you could go to, that you can like hang out with friends with. And I'd be seeing them. They'd be sending me the little text throughout the day. I don't know if y'all are signed up for the nudge. I feel like it's good for like new plans. But like, I'll be watching the plans. I'm like, these are cute. But like, who would I do this with? And it's just like my family. It's so hard. I'm not going to say it's hard, but it's just like to get everybody in one room together, it takes so much work because like everybody's so busy all the time. It's like somebody's in school, somebody's working, somebody is like, oh my God, I can't have my kids. And it's just like, damn, bro, I just want to be in a room with all of you at the same time, But I mean, that's just what it's like when you grow up, like everybody is so busy doing their own thing, and it's just like, damn, bro, it sucks. I can't see y'all all the time. So anyways, that's just what I'm thinking about that. So loneliness is about the need for human connection, and it's a natural, normal response to a lack of connection. Everybody loves to act like I said earlier, everybody likes to act so cool, so I'm cold-hearted. I don't have no feelings. I don't have a heart. I threw my heart out the window, whatever. What's the Rod Wave song where he said my heart on ice? Basically. Where a lot of people are just like, yeah, I don't like to have feelings. And it's real easy to be like, I don't have feelings. But it's harder to like actually sit and admit that like you feel lonely and that, it sucks to be lonely. And like no one likes to admit that because it makes you vulnerable. Nobody likes to be vulnerable because then you get hurt. We get it. Anyways,
but just to add on to that I feel like people do that just to like avoid feeling their feelings because they don't like feeling uncomfortable and feeling the negative emotions, so 100%. They just rather claim like, oh, I'm cold-hearted, or I don't have any feelings or whatever. So
yeah, they love to do that. And it's just like, ew, you're a person too. It's okay to have feelings. Like, damn, imagine having feelings. Like,
but I feel like it depends too on like who you're sharing those feelings to.
Like opening up.
Right. Yeah. Because like
of
a lot of people could take advantage of that. That's why some it's like difficult for some people to like open up.
Yeah. I understand that, and it is hard to open up to people. I'm like that too. But I think it's like once you have a connection where it's like, okay, I don't feel like trash for opening up to somebody. It's like, wow, like opening up is really so healing. It's so like, I actually like opening up and I like talking to people. It's like, whoa, wow, maybe opening up to people doesn't suck. Whoa, imagine that. But yeah, so human beings are social. And the reason why we survive this long as a species is because we rely on each other and have relationships, which goes back to the reason for this show. Everybody has relationships because we need them to survive ultimately. Yeah, bro, it's just like human beings could not have survived for like 10,000 years if we were just out in the wild, everybody doing their own thing. You have to share resources, you have to talk to people, you have to interact with people. And then, yeah, bro, literally the world goes around because we have relationships. Even like, I was taking my marketing class. I have a marketing class right after this. And the professor was just like, having relationships with people is so important. Your brand will not go nowhere if you don't have good relationships. So good relationships are very important. Very important. So I think I want to get into this now. I think this might be more interesting. So why do you think people in the 21st century are lonely? This is just a question to the group. If anybody has any say. I see Andy is ready. What do you think, Andy?
I feel like, in this day and age with the introduction of like, phones and then, the internet, I felt like the internet has really diluted the social interaction that people have in everyday lives. Nowadays all you gotta do is send out a tweet or or a text on Instagram, and then they will respond to you without even having to physically be there, which I feel like affects the person's social skills, because once you do meet them in person, you find out that there's that little lack in the conversation where, like, okay, how do I approach the subject with this person this way, or what could I have done better to speak with them.
Right. So you think it makes people more nervous and like basically decreases social skills in person, like in real life people like don't have social skills?
Right.
Ooh, that's an interesting point. What about you, Stacy? What are you thinking?
I kind of had the same answer as Andy, where like I feel like our social media and the technology that we have these days is just the main reason why it's hard for us to socialize and interact with each other in person.
I also think it's very like shallow. I think the relationships that you make with people, like, yeah, they can be good online, but it's like, are you like going anywhere deeper other than like, hey, how are you? Or like, hey, I know you, like, I follow you, you follow me, but like, do we know anything about each other, like, other than what you look like? Or like, are conversations going deeper than that? I don't know. So I think it is harder to like have deeper conversations with people when you are so shallow all the time.
Right.
Especially in college,
Yeah,
like,
bro.
with the pandemic, it really, like, it shriveled our social skills to the point where, like, people don't want to talk, and when they do talk, it's always that element of awkwardness in those conversations where, like, damn, I don't want to talk to this person, I want to go home straight after class. That's why, like, in some schools the student body is like very dry. There's no spice to it. There's no like engagement.
Did you feel like that about this college or another college? Or
I feel like it's all colleges. It's everybody is going to if you ask somebody, like, hey, is it hard making friends here? They may give you different responses. So it's just like every college has their own thing going on.
Right. I hear that, and that is true, bro. Like, it's so hard to make friends in college because, like, from semester to semester, things can change so much. Like, one semester you could hang out with a whole crew of people, and like they're your people, and like you see them all the time, every single day. Whoa. And y'all be hanging out in the library every single day, and then boom, next semester comes, the schedules are different. Yeah, bro, I can't see you, bro. I'm not on campus that day. I can't show up, bro. And it's just like you be cool with people for like, it's like a short span of like
4 months basically.
4 months basically, where you're like mad cool with people, and then it's just like, like, where does it go? Yeah. When the next semester hits, it's just like, yeah, you can't find nobody. Like, everybody's a ghost. So there is that too.
But now, if you really had a good relationship with them, where you guys were like always hanging out after class, whether that may be a club or student activities in the school, maybe that's a whole different situation. But like, I definitely agree. you see there's always those people that you meet in that specific class, but once the semester ends, you rarely get to see them in the next semester.
Yeah, you like never see people again, and it's just like, damn, do we even go to the same school?
Right.
What are you doing? Like, why I don't see you? But anyways, I think the reason why it's hard to actually, James, do you want to chime in? Why do you think people are lonely in the 21st century?
Well, it's like everyone has just said, technology has isolated us, and we're just used to, talking online and not in person.
Right. That makes sense. So I brainstormed a couple of reasons why it's hard to make friends as an adult. Not it's hard to make friends as an adult, but why people are lonely in the 21st century, especially with technology and like being able to FaceTime and stuff. So some of the things that I thought of was, one, obviously it's hard to make friends as an adult, and, not seeing people as often anymore because everybody has their own schedule. Like, everybody's either working, they have a kid, they have school, they have all kinds of commitments that they have going on in their own life. Another thing is it's hard to find a lover. I know we hate to talk about that, but, I think we should talk about it still. It's hard to find somebody you want to be romantically involved with that's up to your standards. I think I want to touch on this just a little bit. Like, it's so hard to find somebody that, like, that you're looking for, but it's just like, if you have standards in the 21st century, it's so hard to find somebody who fits them. And, like, the standards don't even got to be that crazy. Like, you could be looking for somebody who's just, like, I don't know. Just, like, it's so hard to find a decent person who's, like, not weird, bro. Like, why is everybody so weird? That's another thing. I feel like people are just weird. Like, why is nobody, like, I don't know, bro. It's just, like, there's decency. There's some people who are just, like, not decent. Like, I don't know why. And then it's, like, other things where it's, like, just common sense, bro. Like, some people, they just don't have common sense. Like, messaging you, like, 1,000,000 times in a minute. I just met you. What's going on? Why are we moving like this? Let's relax. Take a step back.
Blowing up your phone within the first day.
Literally the first day. I just met you. Let's relax. Just a teeny bit. Let's relax.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it goes back to the whole, that awkwardness of, like, meeting somebody.
But, I mean, that's what it's like when you meet somebody new every single time you meet somebody new. But I'm talking about, like, to find somebody you want to be romantically involved with, it's like, okay, I had my heart broken. You had your heart broken in the 3rd grade, and now you don't ever want to talk to another woman ever again in your life. Now every single woman has to pay for what the girl in the 3rd grade did to you. Like, let's be serious.
And getting heartbroken in 3rd grade is crazy.
Getting heartbroken in the 3rd grade and then taking it out on people for the rest of your life. I feel like that's even crazier. What else? Yeah, bro, it's just so hard to find somebody that you are romantically interested in. Like, damn, why is everybody so weird? Why is everybody just Anyways, another thing, your family can also be the issue, low key. Like, if your family is somebody you don't want to be around, like, it makes it hard to connect with them too. If they're just, like, annoying you or they remind you of things, I don't know, not remind you of things you don't want to do, but it's just like, if your interactions with them are all, like, negative, obviously you don't want to connect with your family. So it's like, how are you supposed to experience closeness? How are you supposed to experience, I don't know, some kind of love? Like, damn, it's hard to find love out here, bro. And it's like, imagine not having it in your own family. Like, damn, crazy. But yeah, another thing. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this list, but I think we'll get more into it after the break. We do have to go on break, but so I'm just gonna run through this list real fast. Okay, so we have trust issues, which we kind of touched on already. It takes a long time to warm up to people, being busy, and just no time for fun. And again, like I said earlier, relationships require opening up, vulnerability, and just, like, nobody wants to do that. But we'll get into that and more after the break. This has been The Rampage. I'm your host, Mi'ad, and it's been real. This is, for our break, this is John Redcorn by Sir, a song all about loneliness, but it's also good vibes, and it sounds really, really good. So, we will see you after the break. Yeah. And, yeah, we'll talk about this and more. Right. Are we back? Are we back? We're back. Yeah. Back again. Back to back, made back, stack the M's. Okay, so back to it. We're going to be talking about trust issues. Just a little bit. Talk about trust issues. Why do you think trust issues makes people lonelier in the 21st century? What do y'all think? Is trust issues a big part of why people are lonely? What do y'all think?
It could be.
Yeah, it definitely could be.
Yeah.
That you know, like, it goes back to like who you can open up to.
Right.
That's what you always gotta like. I feel like nowadays you gotta double like second guess yourself. Like, is that's the right person to be telling this to? Because you never know if they're gonna be moving a certain way.
I hear that. But also, yeah, bro, that's another thing. Back to what I was saying about like people being weird. It's just like, you know, sometimes you trust somebody so much and you really think that like they're down for you, this and that, and then you find out that like they're moving weird or like they're a snake or whatever. And I think, yeah, having trust issues is a big part of why people stay away or like refuse to be vulnerable, to open up. And I think, yeah, it does leave people lonely, because if you can't connect with nobody, then if you can't trust nobody, then how can you connect with anybody? How can you open up to anybody? So that's just, you know, it just makes it hard to trust, bro. Makes it hard to trust, hard to build relationships. Like I was saying, it makes you lonely. And another thing, like, I know I struggle with this a lot, warming up to people. About how long do you think it takes for you guys to like get used to somebody enough to be like, you know, okay, I can trust you? What do you think is that time frame for you guys?
It depends for me. Like, some people, when I first meet them, like, I instantly click with them. So it's like,
right.
You know, we get along. But then with other people, when that, like, connection of, like, oh, like, the click comes in, I think it would take me longer to, like, trust them. You know?
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
What about you, Andy?
I feel like for me, like, I would, like, I don't know, I'm very observant about how people, you know, interact. I always, like, this is a good thing that I feel like everybody should know, that especially when they meet somebody new, you always want to check how they treat other people, you know, when they're not treating, you know, when they're not with you in that room. Because if they're treating other people differently compared to you, it says something right there.
Like talking bad about other people in front of you, or
like, you know, they, like, let's say, you know, I'm talking to this friend, you know, and like we're having a good time, but then later on, you know, I randomly stumble upon him at a movie theater, and then he's treating other people, you know, in a negative way. You know, it says a lot about his character as a person.
Like the people who work at the movie theater, or just like regular people?
Like other people that he knows that I may know as well. You know.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I think that is like a good judge of somebody's character. If you're like mean to other people or like nasty to other people, then why would anybody want to be friends with you? You know? And also, just like another thing, this is something for me. If you're nasty or mean to like people who work in service, like a waitress or I don't know, like Uber drivers or whatever, I feel like if you're just mean or nasty to any of those people, you're a mean and nasty person. And that says a lot about you and your character. And I feel like nothing good will ever happen to you if you're just mean and nasty to other people. I don't like that.
That's exactly what I was going for.
Yeah. I don't like that. So I think, what about you, James? About how long does it take for you to like warm up to people?
Well, I figure it would have to increase over how much time you spend with them. Like, if you see them how many times a week.
Right.
Because, you know, the more time you spend with someone, the more time, you know, their true colors will come out. Either they're really good or, you know, they'll show they have a mean streak in them.
Right. I think that's a good point as well. I would say for me, how long does it take to warm up to people? I mean, I don't know. Because for me, it's like I could be like polite to people and not like, I don't want to say like fake, but like I'm polite to people when I first meet everybody. So it's just like, you know, I'm cool with everybody when I first meet them. And then it's like once, I don't know, I feel comfortable. It takes me a while to feel comfortable with people. So I'll say it takes me like 2 months to like really like settle in with somebody and be like, okay, like now I know you for certain. But I have to like see them often enough to, like James said, I have to see somebody often enough to be like, okay, you know, I feel like I can trust you. I can open up to you. But yeah, that's just something that pertains to me. But yeah, it does take a while to warm up to people, especially somebody you're meeting for the first time. But yeah. And another reason why people are lonely in the 21st century is just being so busy. Can we talk about it? People have to work 40 hours a week. And even then, that's not enough to, like, make you money that's not enough money to, like, survive, bro. Like, people are working 40 hours a week. How are you supposed to spend time with people? How are you supposed to rest? How are you supposed to enjoy anything?
Especially in this city where it's fast paced. Like,
bro, everything is like by the minute, the New York minute, literally the New York minute. You can't do nothing. You don't want to wait for anything. You don't want to do anything. And it's just like, bro, it's so hard to spend time with people. And to even, like what I was saying earlier about like college and like everybody's on a different schedule, it's so hard to like connect with people because you're so busy. If you're spending all your time at a job, what are you doing in your free time? You're sleeping.
Yeah.
That's it. You're sleeping, or maybe you're like cooking yourself something to eat so you don't like die. Or what else are you doing? I don't know, maybe watching kids or cleaning or something, or maybe like doing laundry. I don't know. But like you spend all your time at work and it's like your free time is barely anything for you to do something that you actually enjoy, you know? And I don't like that. I think, what do y'all think? Do you feel like people should work, I don't know. Do you guys feel like working 40 hours a week or like working a full-time job takes away from, is a reason why somebody is lonely, or what do y'all think?
I feel like it all comes down to a mindset. Yes, I would say sometimes it's why people can get lonely because, you know, they don't have enough time, but I feel like it all goes down to the mindset that you have, you know, like if you want it, you're going to make it happen, you know? Like, right. Sure, like you're going to sacrifice a lot of time, you know, a lot of your free time, but if it's let's say you're working on a side hustle that you're really passionate about, you're going to make that time to make it, you know, happen.
Right. Yeah. What about you, Stacy? What do you think about working 40 hours a week? Does it take away from time you could spend with other people? What do you think?
It does, especially since like I'm always exhausted after work. So like most of the time it's like go home, shower, eat, and then sleep. Yeah. And luckily I work in the morning and I finish work at 12:30 in the afternoon. So like Andy said, like I try to make time to do what I have to do or like spend time with my friends. Right. Even yesterday, for example, like I was here on campus and my friend was at her campus in Manhattan. And I was like, okay, you know, I feel like hanging out with you. And, you know, I have to pass through Manhattan anyways to get home. So, like, why not hang out? And then her and I made the last minute plan and made time for each other. So
Nice. Yeah. What about you, James? What do you think? Do you think working 40 hours a week takes away from spending time with people or contributes to loneliness?
Well, it depends on why you work 40 hours a week. Like the job my dad did most of his life, he got right before he got married. So he worked that job for 31 years at the post office because of the family he had. Mm-hmm.
So do you think yes, it does, or it doesn't? What do you think?
Well, I would say that as far as loneliness, like he already had the family, so that's because he never really like I don't remember him ever, or both my parents ever like hang out with friends, except for like other parents who had the kids at the same schools as me and my sister.
Right. That makes sense. I mean, yeah, like if you do have a family, it's like you are with other people. You're not like living alone, so it doesn't like increase the feelings of loneliness. I can see that. That makes sense. Okay.
I feel like too, like sometimes you just gotta like sacrifice that time because like you got a family, like you make a lot of money to support that family, especially in a city like New York. Yeah. With the cost of inflation, making everything so expensive. So if you gotta get that second job, you gotta do it. Like to support that extra mouth or two, and like it sucks, but then just being with your kids, I feel like that it's worth it.
I mean, I do think you have a point, and I do agree, but I do think it's just like, damn, I feel like this kind of veering off point, but anyways, I'm going to say it. I feel like nobody should have to work 2 jobs to be able to like afford food or bills or anything like that. I feel like that's so like, I don't know. I don't like that, bro. I feel like your one job should cover all the needs that you have. I don't think you should need to or should need like a side hustle, but I do understand the necessity of them. So yeah. Okay. Now, what do you guys think? Okay, have you heard of the male loneliness epidemic? I just want to know, have you guys heard about it?
That's new to me.
It's new to you. What about you, Andy?
Oh yeah, we've had that.
You've heard about it?
Yeah.
What do you know about the male loneliness epidemic?
Well, cause when I was editing that other podcast episode, they were talking about the just in society nowadays, the loneliness of a man, and but their point of view was more on the fact that why they broke up with that specific lover, or
Oh, interesting. Okay.
and so it's like like if I could remember what they were even saying, because most of the time it was like they just it's hard to get back out there after
okay. Like after breaking up with somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense. Yeah. What about you, James? Have you heard about the male loneliness epidemic?
No, I haven't heard that put it that way.
Interesting. Okay. So, as I was researching for this episode, I just searched it up and there were a bunch of links from like psychology articles or like mental health organizations that were talking about it. And apparently this is like a real thing. So I found an article from the BBC, Science Focus. And basically it was detailing how like all the ways that men are significantly more lonely. There was a study that was done where basically, I don't know when it was. I think it was like the 80s or the 90s. And they asked men, I'm not sure what age they were. I think they were all like adults, like 18 to like 30, maybe 40. And they asked them, how many friends do you have? And I think the number was higher than it was when they asked the question. Like, so they asked I feel like I'm not explaining this correctly. So they did the study in like the 90s, right? And then they did the same study again to see if anything had changed over time. And the men later, they asked them, like, how many friends do you have? And essentially they were just like, the number decreased significantly. I think they all said like 1, or a lot of them said like 0. So men are significantly lonelier. They don't have as many friends. They don't have, I don't want to say they don't have as many social interactions, but like, yeah, bro, they just are lonelier. Statistically speaking, they are lonelier. So why do you guys think that men specifically are lonely? Maybe I'll let the men answer this first. Why do you guys feel like men specifically are lonelier than women? I think this is a hard question to ask, y'all. Might have been a bit too hard to ask. I don't know.
I can't speak for myself because, like, yes.
Why can't you speak for yourself? Yes, you can. This is yourself.
I mean, because, like, I do have, like, girlfriends where,
right.
I've had a couple of good times, hanging out with them. But in terms of really getting it serious with one, like, just right, I'm at a point right now where it's time consuming, where like I gotta focus on my studies. Sure, I have my flings here and there, but to really sit down and like and like actually be more serious with one, it hasn't occurred to me yet.
No, but I'm saying like you don't have like men friends that you can like talk to or that you feel close to.
Oh, okay, yeah, of course, like the day ones, those close friends that you've known for a long time. Okay. I have a lot of them from high school.
Right. Do you see them like often, or how does that go between you guys? What is the friendship like between you guys?
It goes back to what you were saying, how like it's hard to find time.
Yeah.
Or like if they're your day ones, and if you really like how do I say, if they're really like that, if they were that great friend of yours, you're gonna find time to to have a good conversation, whether that be on the phone or in person.
Right. Yeah. What about you, James? Do you I don't want to be like, do you have friends, but do you feel like, why do you think, let me ask one question at a time. Okay. how do you feel? Do you feel like you have friends?
Yeah, people I knew from school.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've
Right.
never really like on Facebook much, but I like I just got on Facebook a few years ago, and I was able to find all these people from school that I reached out to friend them, and they remember me. So
Oh, that's nice. That's very nice. Okay, and how close do you feel like the relationship is between you guys? Can you describe the relationship between you and your friends?
well, I haven't seen them since school ended, so it's just everyone's off busy living their own lives. So
Right.
so we don't really unless if they're still in the city or not. Everyone's just busy living their own lives. Most of them are in their relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Some not a lot have children, but or are married, but they're all just living their lives.
Right. Cool. Okay, and do you guys, maybe Stacy? Okay, what do you think about men or like the male loneliness crisis? Why do you think men are so lonely? Actually, sorry. Before I ask this to Stacy, I'm gonna ask this to James. Why do you feel like men specifically are lonelier than women? Do you think there's any reason behind that?
I just think there's as many men that are lonely. There's just as many women that are lonely. And
Okay.
they're not alone in this world.
Okay, that's fair. I like how you said that. Like you said that they're not alone in being lonely. I like that. And Stacy, what do you think? Why do you think men are statistically more lonely than women?
I don't know, honestly, but sometimes I do notice a pattern where it just seems like they try to surround themselves with a lot of people, but then they still feel lonely.
Right.
So I don't know what causes that though. So I don't have a good answer.
I feel like we need a professional with this.
Yeah, we have to call somebody in.
Should have asked the psychologist,
Yeah.
call the psychologist in as a guest. I don't know. Maybe I will bring a psychologist in one day.
Because I feel like we're not at that age and, maturity to, and especially with experiences to really, go in detail with this question.
That's fair. I do appreciate the responses that you did give, so thank you for that. Also, there's another study from the American, I want to get it right. It's the American Center for Cardiology, I think, where they said that basically men who never get married at all are more likely to experience heart failure. They're 2.2 times more likely to experience heart failure than a man who is married. So what do you guys think about that? I thought it was real interesting.
Nah, I think it's just not the diet, whether you
think
have
it's the diet?
Yeah, it all comes down to the diet,
Okay.
Especially with cholesterol, diabetes, high blood pressure. It's all about what you eat, what your intake is.
Okay, so you feel like this study does not have an actual bearing on you need to be in a relationship or else you're gonna die sooner. You feel like there's no correlation.
Yeah, I don't think there is.
Interesting. Okay, and what about you, James? What do you think?
Well, I've actually heard that before.
Really?
Yeah, but it's goes along with I heard this I saw this some history documentary when people traveled out to the old west, men didn't practice real hygiene until they they found a company of a lady friend, in the old west, they were mostly prostitutes and stuff, and how if they wanted their companionship they needed to get cleaned up, so that was their motivation for that back in the 19th century anyway.
Interesting. Very interesting. What do you think about it, Stacy? How single men or men who never get married are 2.2 times more likely than married men to die of heart failure. What do you think of that?
I don't know. I want to say that it sounds like it could be true, but at the same time, the cause of that, my question would be would the cause of that be because they don't have anybody in their life? Is that what they're saying?
I mean, I guess the implications of that would be if you are not married, you are as a man, if you are not married, you are just, I don't know, being married does have health benefits for you. I think, yeah, that's just like an easy implication of this. But I also think, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of true, just like a little bit true. Because I think there's something about having a relationship, a fulfilling relationship, I would say, where it's like you're getting everything you need, your partner's very supportive of you, you feel like you can talk to them, you can trust them, you feel comfortable with them. Like you can get things off of your chest and you're not just like holding that inside of you until you like explode, you know? I feel like having a partner, not even having a partner, but just like having good people that you can like confide in and like having decent friends, I think that makes a world of a difference, you know? As opposed to just being single your whole life, you live by yourself, you do everything by yourself. And like if you don't really have friends, who do you turn to? You don't have like a stable relationship, you know? So it's just like I think having somebody in your life can definitely help you like maybe not feel as stressed, but also again like you have somebody you can trust, you can vent to, so you're not literally like holding that in you. Like bro, when you're angry and you're just like holding so much inside of you and all you want to do is just vent to somebody, it really is such a nasty feeling. And then like if you don't trust anybody to be able to, you know, like release that load, you really do just take it with you and you hold it with you. And that can definitely, I could see how that could lead to like heart failure over time.
Nah, it's definitely like it's not good at all to hold it inside, you know, like bottling it up, because at one point you're gonna explode, and you're gonna explode in the moment that you least expect it. So like, you know, it's always important to like reach out to somebody, you know. And I feel like too, the people that they do reach out to, sure, they may have good intentions, but they also may not be adequate in like handling the situation and what is the correct response to them.
That's another thing too. So for me, I was like, why would married men live longer than men who never get married? I was just like thinking in my mind, and in the what's it called in the outline that I came up with some of these reasons. A lot of the causes of this, I feel, are people saying like that women need to pick better men. Have you guys heard people say this? Like, oh, women, you should pick better men. You should have better standards. Otherwise, you won't be complaining about, like, dating losers or things like that. Basically, why would you date bad men when there are good men who are available? I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this or not.
Yeah,
but
I have.
You have?
Yeah, it's, you know, I feel like it all goes down to, like, the values that you grow up with in the household, you know,
right.
Like, you know, because you also gotta remember that a lot of households, they're taught differently. So you
it's
know,
true.
like I don't want to sound biased or anything, but like in a Hispanic household, a woman, a girl, she's taught at a young age to serve. You know, clean this, clean that. But whereas, you know, in an African American household, you know, like there's situations where like the father is not in the picture. So then the mother, it's up to her to raise her, and so she has that mindset of, you know, like I was the only one who raised you, so you gotta be a strong, independent woman, you know, not to take anything from nobody.
Okay, interesting. Okay, and I think a lot of women are taking that advice and they're actually doing things to like pick better men. Like they have better standards now. They're not settling for men who are like mean or rude or nasty. And also, like, men that have, like, work good jobs, they make good salaries. So, you know, I think people are just holding out for good people. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And also, what's the number one thing that people tell single people all the time? People who are looking for a relationship. What's the number one thing that people tell you?
Focus on yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So when people are doing that, I think women are, like, actually doing that. Like, they're going to school. They're working. They're finding hobbies. But they also have fulfilling relationships with people that are not just romantic. Like, they can have good relationships with family, good relationships with friends. And that is enough until, like, they find somebody that they are, like, seeking out romantically, you know? So, to me, I just thought that was interesting. And another thing, you know that men all the time, they're just like, oh, you know, you're going to be all alone. You're going to be all alone, old and wrinkly with your cats. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I'd rather have a cat than a man who's like super abusive and like mean and nasty and rude. That's just me though. So what do you guys think? Do you guys agree with any of these, or what do you guys think before we close out?
I feel like it is important to focus on yourself first before
Right.
entering a relationship, just because I notice, like, if you don't love yourself, or like, you know, don't put yourself first, focus on yourself, and then you just jump into a relationship, then a lot can go wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, you know, you just gotta. Yes, I feel like sometimes people just need to, you know, go through it to learn. You know, it builds character. But I mean, yeah, it sucks. You know, if that relationship doesn't work out, but you know, you learn from it and you learn to move on. You know.
Right. I hear that. But I think, like, do you guys think that, I don't know, maybe like women being or focusing on themselves, like going to school, going to work, or like having close relationships with people that are not like lovers or like people that they talk to romantically. Do you guys think that that is the reason why men are lonely? What do you guys think about that? Or do you think there's no correlation?
It's difficult to say because everybody has their own backstories, you know, and like experiences, and you know,
Right.
depending if you're from, let's say, like from middle school to high school to college, it's gonna be different,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the location too, with like
Right. That is true.
with the you know, the different type of population.
Right. Now, before we close out the show, we only have so long, but I wanted to bring up this thing that I saw online a while ago. Basically, it was a TikTok video of this transgender man saying that it's very lonely to be a man. And I thought that was so interesting because obviously when you're a trans person, like you're a woman. The way that they transitioned was they were a woman for like most of their life and then obviously transitioned to being a man. And they said that, well, he said when he was a woman, like he experienced relationships that were like so much closer, so much better. He felt so much more like supported, so much more connected. And I just thought, and like it was really lacking when he transitioned to being a man. And I just thought, like, that's so interesting. And I think maybe we should keep that in mind. Maybe not keep that in mind, but it's just like, I thought it was interesting because like you live life as a woman and now your life is completely different as a man. And like the relationships are not the same, you know? So, anyways, this has been the Rampage. This is the end of the first episode. Woo! Does anybody have any closing remarks? No?
You know, just stay tuned. You know, we
All
got
right.
many more episodes.
We'll
to
catch
come.
y'all next week. But before you go, you can follow us on Instagram at the Rampage WBCR. You can find this video will be posted to the YouTube channel. It's called WBCR_CUNY. We have the website where we play the show live at WBCR.net. And of course, follow the Instagram WBCR_CUNY. This has been the Rampage. I'm your host, Maad. We got Andy on the board, Stacy behind the camera, James also on the board. It's been very, very real. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, that's that. Bye. We'll see y'all next week, same time. That better be a yes. That was a rhetorical yes. Thank you.